Hello students, in the last lecture we studied about acids and in this lecture we will study about bases. So let us know what are bases. So students, in this lecture we will study about bases. Let us know what are bases. Base is actually a substance which has bitter taste. As we know that acids have certain characteristic properties, similarly bases also have certain characteristic properties. This shows that there must be something common in all the bases. According to the Arrhenius concept, a base is a substance which when dissolved in water produces hydroxyl ions. So let us know first of all that what is a base according to the Arrhenius concept. So according to the Arrhenius concept, a base is a substance which when dissolved in water produces hydroxyl ions. Students, hydroxyl ions are OH negative ions, and these hydroxyl ions are also known as hydroxide ions. So what is a base according to the Arrhenius concept? Base is a substance which when dissolved in water produces hydroxyl ions in the solution. Now first of all, let us understand this definition of a base with the help of example. So example we are going to take is of sodium hydroxide. We have sodium hydroxide which is available in the form of the pellets. So it is present in the solid state. So when we dissolve sodium hydroxide in water, so that means we need to react it with water. So when we react sodium hydroxide with water, what do we get? We get sodium Na positive aqueous ions plus OH negative aqueous ions. So here as sodium hydroxide when dissolved in water is liberating hydroxyl ions, this means that here sodium hydroxide is acting as a base. So I can mention here that here sodium hydroxide is acting as a base as it is liberating hydroxyl ions. As hydrogen ions are represented as H positive aqueous ions, similarly hydroxyl ions, or these are also known as hydroxide ions, these are represented as OH negative aqueous ions. But students, this is not the only base. Base is actually a substance which neutralizes the effect of the acid. So we can say that base is generally a substance which reacts with acid to form salt and water. So what is the another definition of base? So we can say base is a substance which reacts with acid to form salt and water. Now when we say that base is a substance which reacts with the acid to form salt and water, then through this definition, in the bases we can include the metal hydroxides also, metal oxides also, and aqueous ammonia also. So according to this definition, what is a base? Base is a metal hydroxide. So we can say base is a metallic hydroxide. This definition includes metal hydroxide. In its definition, base can be a metallic hydroxide or it can be a metallic oxide or aqueous ammonia which reacts with the hydronium ions of the acid. Acid liberates hydronium ions, so a base is a metallic hydroxide or a metallic oxide. It can be aqueous ammonia also because it reacts with the hydronium ions of acid to form salt and water. So when we say that base is a substance which reacts with acid to form salt and water, so through this definition, base can be a metallic hydroxide, it can be a metallic oxide, or it can be aqueous ammonia. Now let us understand this with the help of examples. So first of all, we have basic oxide. First of all, let us include basic oxide in the definition of a base. So first of all, we have basic oxide. And this basic oxide is nothing but a metallic oxide. What is a basic oxide? It is a metallic oxide. And metallic oxide contains oxide ions in it. And what is an oxide ion? O2 negative ion. Now let us see, can we include the basic oxide or metallic oxide as a base? So for it to be a base, it should react with acid. So let us take the example of sodium oxide. This is Na2O, this is sodium oxide. So it reacts with the acid, sulfuric acid, H2SO4. It forms sodium sulfate with the formula Na2SO4 plus it gives H2O. Now we can clearly see that the sodium oxide is reacting with the acid to give you salt and water. So what is this? This is sulfuric acid. It is giving you sodium sulfate, which is salt here, and water, H2O. So it definitely tells us that here sodium oxide is acting as a base, because base is a substance which reacts with acid to give you salt and water. Now this was about basic oxide. We can include basic hydroxides also. So second are, first we have basic oxides, second we have basic hydroxides. And these basic hydroxides are nothing but the metallic hydroxides. Metallic hydroxides. And metallic hydroxides are the ones which have OH negative ion. Now let us see this example. We have sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Now when it reacts with the acid, suppose the acid we are taking is hydrochloric acid with the formula HCl. Now when the sodium hydroxide reacts with the acid, we get sodium chloride, which is our table salt, plus water. So it definitely tells us that through this example also here sodium hydroxide is acting as a base because it reacts with the acid to form salt and water. So what is sodium hydroxide at this place? It is acting as a base here. So here we have shown you that metallic hydroxide, or which is known as basic hydroxide, can act as a base here. But there are certain hydroxides which are not metallic hydroxides, but still they are bases. So the example here is ammonium hydroxide with the formula NH4OH. Now let us see how this is a base. So it should also react with the acid. So we have ammonium hydroxide, it reacts with the acid. Acid we are taking is hydrochloric acid. When it reacts with the hydrochloric acid, we get ammonium chloride with the formula NH4Cl plus we get water. So definitely here ammonium hydroxide is also acting as a base because it is reacting with the acid to give you salt and water. Now next students, here in the definition we included the aqueous ammonia also as the base. So how aqueous ammonia acts as the base? Let us see. We have aqueous ammonia. By the word aqueous means in the presence of water. What is the formula of ammonia? It is NH3. Now when ammonia reacts, or we can say in the presence of water, ammonia in the presence of water, it actually forms ammonium hydroxide. NH4OH, it forms ammonium hydroxide, and just now I told you that when ammonium hydroxide reacts with the acid, it forms salt and water. So in this way also we can show that aqueous ammonia actually forms ammonium hydroxide, and ammonium hydroxide reacts with the acid to give you salt and water. Therefore, it is a base. Moreover, we can show that ammonium hydroxide in the presence of water, it actually forms two types of ions, or we can say it liberates hydroxyl ions. So on dissociation, it gives you NH4 positive aqueous ions plus OH negative aqueous ions. So definitely you can see here that ammonium hydroxide liberates OH negative ions in the solution. So therefore aqueous ammonia is also a base. I hope students these definitions of the base are clear to you. There is one more terminology which is known as alkali. Alkali is different from the base in the sense that alkalis are actually soluble bases. These are the soluble bases which furnishes hydroxyl ions in the solution. So we can say that all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. There are some insoluble bases like ferric hydroxide, so that cannot be an alkali. A very good example of alkali which is a soluble base is ammonium hydroxide. I hope students this definition of bases is clear to you. Next we will study the classification of bases.